relationships. Fritz had trained to be a locksmith, but had failed at it, so he ended up in like an army camp place for non-commissioned soldiers. I googled on Wikipedia what non-commissioned soldiers were, and even after reading it, I still don't understand.
Still left confused.
Yeah, still left bamboozled. Apparently, he himself was an obedient soldier and was also a good gymnast, but due to more than one episode where Fritz had a seizure, which was suspected to be the result of a previous head trauma he got whilst doing gymnastics, he had to leave.
Oh dear.
So it kind of sucks, because it just shows, maybe things might have gone a little bit different for Fritz.
Maybe,
yeah, but I don't know. Fritz became kind of lazy and slobbish, with not really having anything to do. And as he was growing older, his sexual urges grew stronger. It wasn't long before he was actually molesting children every day.
Oh.
Every fucking day.
Oh no.
I don't know if they were the same children, different children. To be honest with you, it doesn't really matter. He's still fucking molesting kids. So, yeah.
Oh dear.
Luckily, once the word got out about it, he was sent to the asylum, the one that his dad was threatening him to go into, not long after his 18th birthday. So he was quite young, actually, while all this was going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Not much is known about what happened to Fritz while he was in the asylum, but apparently he would live the rest of his life with an intense fear for the place. It was a combination of poor security and a large fire, though, that gave Fritz the opening he needed to escape the asylum for good. Now, one of these things that I haven't put a really note here, but I did sort of look into this because there was a big gap and I was very confused as to how someone can escape an asylum and then just be fine and not have people chase you. But apparently what I didn't realise was, in terms of passports, it wasn't until World War One which that was really a thing. Before World War One, people could just sort of travel freely throughout Europe. Like, they didn't really need to check in with things, and so it wasn't like he was going to get detained at the airport or anything.
Yeah.
He could literally just fuck off anywhere he wanted to, which I thought was very interesting. I didn't know that. At the age of 20, so he fucked off for a bit after he escaped the asylum. At the age of 20, he returned to Hanover, where he ended up with a woman, this is a bit of a, well, I don't know, people, sexuality is fluid and all that sort of thing, so maybe he just kind of took a fancy to this particular woman. But yeah, he ended up with her, and he actually got her pregnant, but then he soon had to leave her and the child behind when he joined the army. Tried to find out anything about her after this. Don't know, because essentially after the army, he just didn't go back. He just didn't go back.
Oh, wow.
Just didn't go back. He just, like, one day he's like, okay, darling, I'm going to war now. That's my terrible German accent. That's highly offensive.
Bad.
Fuck. Let's not do that again. So he's like, I'm going to war now. Goodbye. And then she's like, okay, husband, goodbye. And then nothing. I don't know. There might be something, but I couldn't find anything.
That is so crazy for the fact that we just abandoned him.
Yeah, just goodbye.
Oh.
So he's like, yeah, going.
Because for all she knows, he could have died at war or anything.
I don't know how it works, but the thing that I thought from this is that out there somewhere is the bloodline of this guy.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that person knows that they're a relative.
I guess they wouldn't, in all honesty.
You would possibly not know.
Unless they did, like,
unless you're on the birth certificate or something. Like, maybe. I don't know when birth certificates were a thing. I don't know if there was a registry of those. I don't
think
fucking know.
Birth certificates have been things for a while.
So while in the army, apparently life was good, and Fritz says that this was the happiest time of his life. But again, he started to have the seizures, and he had to be sent home. His dad, by this point in time, had stopped working on the trains, and he was working as a cigar, I think it was a cigar maker or a cigar salesman. So Fritz went to help him out, and the two worked together. But obviously the relationship is terrible, so much so that Dad once again tried to have him committed to the asylum.
Oh, wow.
But this time the town doctor regarded him as merely morally inferior. So at that point Fritz was like, fuck this, I'm going away. So then at 24 he set out into the world on his own.
I'm scared where he actually went.
He's behind you. No. Numerous burglaries and confidence scams soon became a feature of Fritz's life, and after 1904 he spent 1/3 of the following 20 years either in custody or in prison. He joined a smuggling ring and conducted a prosperous business as a smuggler and a thief. So he sort of got in with some dodgy people. Mm-hmm. But that actually worked out to his benefit and would work out very well for him throughout the rest of the story. These little underworld connections would do. Due to his vast connections to the criminal underworld, Fritz was actually the perfect candidate to become a police informant. So he was a fucking... what do they call him? A yak? That's not what they call him.
It's not yak.
What do they call him?
I've just been called...
Yak? Dicks?
Police informers?
Police informers? I'm sure there's like a grass. No, I'm sure there's like a word that criminals call them. I don't know. Anyway, he was that. So he became the police informant, which was a role which would afford him the luxury of having the police force, for the most part, at least. Mole, maybe.
Sorry.
But essentially this sort of connection he had with them and the police informant stuff kind of led to the police almost always turning a blind eye to his own crimes.
Okay.
So that's why that's quite important. However, in 1914, after the police pretty much had no other choice, he was sentenced to 5 years in jail for theft from a warehouse. So even though he's on the police's side,
he still got done.
If it comes to it where they're put in a position where they have to, they will still arrest him.
Yeah.
It's pretty much, we'll give you a benefit of the doubt, but if it's going to risk our ass,
don't constantly fuck up.
Yeah, well, just if it's going to risk our ass, it's always going to be ours over you. It was after his release from the prison in 1918 when the vampire of Hanover would take his first bite. Ooh, boom! I read that as well. Fuck. Here we go. So. This is where it starts to get a little juicy. A young runaway by the name of Friedel Roth disappeared from home on the 25th of September 1918, writing to his mother only to say that he would not return home until she was nice again. Which sounds really sweet. It's like a proper little kid just going, I won't come over until you're nice and give me sweets. Various friends of the boy were forthcoming with information and eventually led the police to number 27 Sellerstrasse, which I can show you on this image.
Oh, that looks so cute.
Yeah, so when I was envisaging this particular location, for some reason in my head, I was thinking of like Paris or like Vienna type streets, but this is very different. This is like...
it's very German.
Very German, but it's like... it's got like the thatched roofs.
They look like Tudor houses.
They look like very Tudor houses with all the wood and stuff going on. Again, guys, if you want to go see what we're talking about right now, go to Facebook and follow us at Adventures in Birdland or Adventures in MRDR Land. And if you want to know this particular place, it's this place right here, just above the restaurant. So you got restaurant there, and then this is the set of flats there. Notice the little alleyway down the side.
Yeah.
And it goes up into the apartments there. So, number 27 Sellerstrasse, the home of a man that the friends and family of the boy had said they'd seen him with... they said that they'd seen the boy with this man who lived at this home. So the detective investigating his disappearance broke through the door, only to find Fritz Haarmann in bed with not Friedel, but with another young boy, and he was immediately sentenced to 9 months imprisonment for seducing a juvenile.
9 months?
No, it doesn't seem like a lot, does it? I mean, there's a lot of things in this that really give me the vibe that these people were not overly invested in taking these people off the streets for as long as they should be. It seemed kind of not as big of a deal as it should have been, which is very odd. Unbelievably, and this is a creepier. Unbelievably, Fritz's room was not searched during the break-in.
Why?
Well, if it was, the police would have found the young Friedel's head stuffed behind the stove, wrapped in newspaper.
That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Why didn't they search the place?
I don't know. I just don't know. That's all I can say. I just don't know. Like, the police just don't seem to be overly... They seem just lazy, essentially, is what I'd say. They just seem a bit lazy. And also, they know Fritz, so it's like... I can imagine the conversation be like, Fritz... Told you, we have to put you up now, you know that, don't you? I hope you know that we've got to put you up now. Don't worry, we'll make sure no one breaks into your house while you're inside. I could imagine it like that, but with a German accent.
I was going to say, that was very Yorkshire accent.
Yeah, well, my German accent was very offensive, so I'm not going to try that again. So Fritz does his time, and when he gets out in late 1919, he meets a young guy called Hans Granz at the Hanover railway station. The station, Hanover station, was a known place for runaways, petty thieves, and sex workers. And so for Fritz was the perfect place to go hunting.
Like his playground for him, then.
Pretty much. It's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel, that place. Hans Granz, however, was a petty thief himself who had run away from home and now earned his living primarily selling old clothes at the station. It wasn't uncommon, though, for Hans to sell himself if he needed the extra money. So one day he approached Fritz, who, like I say, was very feminine and was very flamboyant and openly gay. He approached him with the purpose of making let's say a business transaction. Surprisingly, Fritz actually took a shining to Hans and so didn't kill him. Instead, the two formed a close relationship, and Hans even moved in.
Oh.
Now, if you'd like to see Hans, I can show you him there. Quite.
Oh, he's really handsome.
Yeah, not for me, but I can definitely see the appeal. He would be like an Instagram model nowadays. He's even got like a fucking hipster haircut.
He really has.
He really has. That sort of high fade. That's really cool. That coif. Not too sure about the hat on the other picture, though.
Oh, is that him as well?
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Looks like that picture looks completely different to the first one.
Yeah, the hat, man, it just changes it. I don't think he's got the face for it. So the two appeared as well-dressed, decent gentlemen and earned respect amongst the local people. Needless to say, however, both Fritz and Hans had more illicit intentions and plied their trade by begging or stealing laundry and selling it to the public. So they start a little thievery, a little tomfoolery. The relationship would, however, take an even more sinister turn when one day Fritz detained two youths at Hanover station on the pretense that he himself was an officer inspecting the waiting rooms. One of the boys was sent away while the other boy, called Fritz, but Fritz Frank, accompanied him home. Hans Granz had been out that day, but turned up back at the house a little earlier than expected.
Oh no.
When Hans opened the door, he was faced with the image of Fritz, covered in blood, over the lifeless body of the boy from the station.
Oh, fuck.
Hans, in shock, but not afraid, stared at Fritz and simply said, "When shall I come back again?"
What?
So this is his first encounter.
What the fuck?
This is like the two have been doing some little thievery, sort of low grade petty theft. He walks in, sees him actually murdering a child, doesn't fucking flinch. Just asks,
my God.
when should he come back? So at that point, in my head at least, that's like the little wink and the nod to each other, like, you know, we're cool. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you, bro. I got you.
Oh my God.